All right. So quickly, every quadratic is of this form, ax squared plus bx plus c. You have two types of quadratics, minimum, maximum. Okay. A few other things that we need to know about a quadratic before we start to sketch them, right? Because the main goal is to extract everything we can get from this in order to sketch it, right? The other things that a quadratic should have are these things here. So let's say you have a quadratic that looks like this, right? There are a few things that we need to learn. Number one, the shape. I showed you how to get the shape. This special point here, you'll recognize it on all of them, right? There's a special point. We call that point the turning point, right? That's the point where the quadratic goes from decreasing to increasing. Okay? So the quadratic changes from decreasing, increasing, or increasing to decreasing. Turning point, then we need to get these 2 points here. Those 2 points are where it cuts the x-axis. Morning. And lastly, we need to get this special point here where it cuts the y-axis. Right? We call that the y-intercept. Right? We also call these here the x-intercepts. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to get how to get all of them. Okay?
So, 2 points, where cuts x-axis, that's the x-intercept.
That's the x-intercept.
And it's about
Normally. Right? It could cut sometimes it could cut one based on the restrictions that you're doing. Right? And then it cuts the y-axis at one point, that's called the y-intercept. Which will be the C, yes. Right? So I'm going to show you how to get these. Right? Do a quick sketch. Right, so again, the 4 things that we need to get to the shape, turning point, cuts the x, cuts the y. Right, so 4 steps that we have to take. I'm going to finish. Right, so watch here. So if we take a quadratic, right, and we do something called completing the square, we'll end up with something like this. A by x plus h squared plus k. So we're taking this quadratic and writing it like this. These two are the exact same things. Huh? And if we can write it like this, our turning point is minus hp. Right? And we can get a lot of things from this as well. So we need to learn to complete this square. So how to complete this square? Real simple. We just need to find h, which is b over 2a, and we need to find k, which is c minus a squared. And I've got a formula, right? But this is the one answer, right? So if you use this formula, you can find h. If you use this formula, you can find k. And that's it. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that, right? Right? So let's make a note of this, how to find h and k. Note that, first thing I want to note that is that the turning point is minus hk. Next thing I want you to note is that the minimum value or the maximum value is k. Right? I'm going to explain all this now. X value what's that? Turning point, minimum, maximum value is k. The x value, which gives this value, is minus e. I'm going to explain that now. I can't believe this. Ah, on my tables. I get some jokes. We are not the jokes. And when I go on the camera, it's put together. Huh? But I thought some of them are some of them after school. Ready? Come on, I finish, right? So I want to show you from this one how we can get a shape, how we get a turning point, how we can get these two things here. Right? For those who are watching, this is a quadratic, right? And you recognize that the quadratic going down, this is the lowest thing going down. So this here, we call that the minimum value. That's k. The lowest value that this could be is k. Right? And the value which gives you k is minus h. So this is the x value that gives you this. Right, Adrian? So we are going to try to find these values. Right? That's why they call this the minimum value, because this is the lowest value that the function could reach. It could also be the maximum, right, based on the type of graph. So let's look at this one here. First thing first, what is A? A is what? What is B? Minus 6. What is C? Right? So we have A, B, and C. Everybody okay with that? We have A, B, and C. So number one, let's see if we can find the shape. We can find the shape. We recognize that A is 3, so that's more than 0. So what shape is that? Minimum. So we know it kind of shape like that. Now we're gonna try to find H. H is H is B over 2A. B is minus 6. Should I use 9? So let me just make sure this function will work out. 3 by 6 by 4. This one will work out, right? For minus. Right? And right, so B is minus 6. 2 by A. A is 3. When I work this out, again, H to be minus 1. Okay? So I know what H is. Now I need to find K. Look at the formula there. The formula is C minus A. And I'm just doing something here because people generally get this wrong. I squaring the H first. So I put it in brackets for you to remember. Okay? Yeah. No, that's minus H. This is H.
Oh.
Right? When you want to find when you want to get minus H, that'll be positive one. Right? But H is minus 1. The formula I gave you there is for H. Okay? Now, as I was saying, C is minus 9. A is 3. Right? And then H is minus 1. So you square H first. Right? You square H first, so that'll give you a 1. Minus 3 by 1, that is minus 3. So the answer is minus 12. That's okay? So now we know what K is. So therefore, if I ask you to, so if I ask you to complete the square, complete the square just simply means instead of writing it like this, you write it like this. A by x plus h squared plus k. We know what A is. We know what A is. A is 3. We know what H is. H was minus 1. And we know that K is minus 12. That's okay? So can we easily tell them the turning point? The turning point, which is this point here, is minus H. So H is minus 1, so minus H will be positive 1. And K is minus 12. Right? This is your turning point, and your lowest value, call your minimum value. Your minimum value is K, and the X value, which gives you that, is 1. That's it. What's the X value that gives you K? 1. So they like to ask this, the X value, which gives the minimum or maximum values. I want the minimum value, look at your graph. Your graph coming all the way here and going back up. So this is the lowest possible value the graph can be. So it's called the minimum value. And the minimum value is K all the time, or maximum. Right, Adrian? All right. So far we learned the turning point, the shape, and the max and min values. Right, so as I said, the objective of this first part is to be able to find shape and turning point. You need HK and E. Right, you can all see from right here. H, K, and E. Right, so we have turning point, we have minimum. So if you have to catch it, it might look like this. 1 minus 4, 1 minus 12 is somewhere here. So it might look like this. But to know if it's actually correct, we need to get here, we need to get here, and here. Let's call these again. And here is the y-intercept. So let's start with the y-intercept because that's really easy. The y-intercept is always 0C all the time, right? So we know in our example here, the y-intercept is 0 minus 9. So we know that this value is, we know that this value is 1 minus 12, and we know that this value here is minus 9. Now to get the next two values, x-intercepts, you all did this already. All we have to do is to solve the quadratic. Solve the quadratic equal to 0. It's add maths. So we can quickly calculate, right? Solve that. So solve 3x squared minus 6x minus 9. Some more you're gonna quickly calculate it. If your teacher don't allow it, well, we are doing it longer, right? What you got? 3 and minus 1. It just give you everything to calculate. In the class, you could show it, give you everything. But of course, you can't write it, you guys. You can use it to check back your answer. Right? They'll give you this, they'll give you, if not the turning point, they'll give you the min and max. They'll give you the main values. And you could just take it and put it in the calculator. So it's like a check. So yes, so we know the x-intercepts. So I know that this value is 3 and this value is minus 1. And you're done. That's your sketch there. That's it. This is your sketch. Turning point, cuts the x, cuts the y, cuts the x, and the shape. Any questions online? Yeah, you know. I think open back up. Did I comment? Is it right either? Was 5. You can take that one line. I have to find out that find a walk from the flower. Can you take one line? 4. Yeah, it's one up from. Yeah. Next week. Next week is what? All right, nice. That is that. Last part. I mean, number 2. Number 2, I want you to just catch it from her. Catch the whole thing, right? What you just normally do after you find the shape, turning point, x-intercept, y-intercept, plot them, then connect them. All right? I'll give you a minimum again. Right? You wouldn't get whole numbers there, but I'm gonna give you something that you wouldn't get bad numbers. Yeah, look at that. Try it, catch it somewhere. When I sketch, I want you to write it just like this, right? So find the shape, turning points, where it cuts the x, where it cuts it. And again, Casio people, you can check all about it, right? Check one. That, right? Right? Yes, I believe that's around the top. Right? X-intercept might be lean values, but that's around the top, right? Yeah, so when you find it, change the sign.
Yes. Yes.
Can sketch it, right? We done quadratic out of it. By just starting it up, right? You should have all this already. A is 5, B is -10, C is -3. We know A is more than 0, so it's a minimum. Right? We could find each. That's B on 2A. So that's -10 on 10. I got -1. Yeah. And K is C minus A8 squared, which is -3 by 5 by -1 squared. Right? So that is 1, 5, I got -8. Right? It don't matter, it has to catch. But what you can do is add plot first. So you see like here, I knew that here's -1 and 2. So here wider, here smaller. So it's like just average it, just catch. So it doesn't really matter. Right? So you know that. So we know the turning point. We know the turning point is -8, so that's +1K. You know the turning point, right? We know the min value in case they ask us. The min value is -8, and the x value which gives you that is 1. Next, we want to know where it cuts the. We need to know where it cuts the y-axis. That's always 0C. So that's 0 -3. And then where it cuts the x-axis, all I have to do is to solve 5x squared minus 10x minus 3 is 0. And we got this how many wrong total? 2.3 and -0.3. Nice. So I have a negative value, a positive value, negative here. So I have an idea where everything is. Because I want a curve to look smooth, I draw a curve first. Right? I know that one side is -0.3. Next side is 2.3. I know it cuts the x-axis at -3. And I know my turning point here is 1 minus 8. Right? The reason I do it like this is just so it will come out smooth. Okay? If you want to be exact, you can do a scale and plot and then put it together. Right? So that is your quadratic. Let's try one more.
A lot of decimals, you're just wrong.
Wrong result, wrong. Generally, the standard thing is to get three significant figures. Generally, right? So if you have two. But generally, if you have a long value, you go to three significant figures. Okay, doing good. Online, any issues? Ashish, are you okay? Sydney? Yeah, okay. Try this. I changed up a little bit. You'll get some fractions now. Minus 4x squared plus 3x plus 1. Wait, I can't. Oh, yeah. I have to work just to catch up with this second one. Hmm? Yeah, give me my wife from a little soft. Oh, when is the second one coming out? Because the new one. Right, you will not get nice values for each and p. Take your time. This one's shape a little bit different. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I might have to. That's true. Do this. I did exactly what I did. Yes. This was my favorite. 25 to 16. Yes, I did also. 1 plus 4. 6. 5, 4. Then 9 over 6. Plus 4. 9 over 16. Which is not calculated, it's square that. It's 20. But no, that's it. Right. It's something like. That's I. I agree. But what did your dad?
You got right. If you put this properly in a calculator, it shouldn't make a mistake, right? But if you're working it out, please remember you square this first. So you'll get 9 on 64. Right? Then you multiply it by -4. So you'll get plus 9 over 4 into this is 16. So I got 1 on 9, 16 altogether, or 25 on 16. Right? That's a key value, right? So we know what the turning point is. Turning point is -h, which is 3/8, and 25 on 16. Then we need to get where it cuts the x-axis. Yeah. Question? Where it cuts the y-axis, sorry. So that'll be 0C. C is 1. And where it cuts the x-axis, what you all got when you solve it? But you got 1 on -1/4. Yeah, nice. So we know it's a maximum. Maximum one value negative, one value positive, so it might look something like that. Get a little smoother. Right? X-intercept, Y-intercept is up here, right? So it will go like that and then come back down. Here is 1. Here is minus a quarter. Here is positive 1. And your turning point is positive 3/8 and 25/1/6. That's okay? If the shape not perfect and you plot your points, that's okay, yeah? Papa and Panaya. Why not get? Right? Why don't you do the shape first? Why don't you do the shape first? So whenever you're doing a quadratic, right? Don't make it look like that. Right? Let it go up to a point and then come back down. Let it go up and then come back down. All right? Nice. Let's change it a little bit. One more. I'm gonna give all one like this. One more. Catch this. And then we'll take a look at how the questions come. Sketch y is equal to 1 minus x squared. Try that. Y is equal to 1 minus x squared. Same principle, right? Put it in this order. Then work it out. Any questions there online? Jaden, are you okay? Right, remember, put it in the form x squared, x constant. If you're not seeing an x term, it means that what? It means that b is 0, right? A is minus 1, yeah, c is 1, and b is 0. So it could also be written like this, right? Y is equal to minus x squared. If you want, you could write this. You don't have to. Plus 1. So now you could see what is A, you could see what is B, and you could see what is C. You don't have to do that, huh? Whenever I did this, yes. You're going the way you get it. Beside it. Oh, I think that's getting solved.
Oh.
No? I take a time, A is 1, B is 0, C is 1, right? Find everything. I want to show you how to pick on this particular one. Right. That's very good. That's right. Right, now, how did you send that? That was. And we able to tell if you each other, and this is Robert Thorpe. Yeah. I don't see, I want to see where you come up with. Right, so let's check on what you have, but what you see. Before we draw it, right? There is something I want you to have an idea about, right? The quadratic originated from this, y is equal to x squared. All the other quadratics that we drew comes from this, right? When they add on 3x and 2 and thing, it basically comes from this. So what you are doing whenever you draw a quadratic, you shifting this up, right? So for example, if you have y is equal to minus x squared, what you're doing is that you are turning all your positive y values negative, right? So whenever you see negative x squared, what you're really doing is all your positive values, you're shifting it like this. And then if I were to add 1, what you're doing now is you're taking all your values and increasing them by 1. So what will happen? If all your y values increase by 1, your graph that you drew might look like this. That's what your graph will look like in the end. Right? So without me having to go and work anything out, because I know this, and I know what this looks like, and what +1 does, I can kind of figure out what the shape will look like. So my final answer will look like this. Okay? So just one way to learn is this. Right? Later on, you'll be able to figure out those things. So h is b on 2a. I got h to be 0. Then k is equal to c minus a squared. So that's 1 minus 0. So what that means is my turning point is 0, 1. Now that I know my turning point, I can find the y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 0, 1. These two are the same, and you can see it here. And you can see it here, that the y-intercept and the turning point is the same thing. Y-intercept, turning point, and x-intercept. X-intercept, all I have to do is make 1 minus x squared equal to 0. X squared is 1. X is the square root of 1 plus and minus 1. Okay, so this one I could actually solve it like this. Okay, because there is no x to. Right, and finish. So I know I cut the x plus 1 minus 1. I know the turning point of it. Minus 1, 1. Yeah, gonna do one more past paper. All right. So again, pay attention to this, right? Right, you should know what the original quadratic looks like, right? X squared looks like this all the time.
So is it from the same?
What's that, Tanisha? I know.
So is this from?
There's one block that's okay. What?
Right, let's try 2019 number 2. 2019 number 2, right? Twenty 2019 number 2. This one here, right? Ignore the part on top. Green, do that here. You want something inequal. Really? So I'm gonna show it one time here, but let's see how time.
So it's working there.
You guys have last week? Online, yeah, what did we attention online? Much time I called on him online.
Right.
I almost come here last week. I was very annoyed. I was like, right, answer exactly what they asked, yeah? right? They ask complete the square, what's the maximum value, what's the x value. Find these solutions and then sketch. Ignore the less than 0 part, right? So they are asking you exactly what we did on the board. Right, Adrian, you want to go on to this one, right? Yeah, between an A is not K value and not quite an X. X A has a mix. And give it to her. I do the purchase brief and then I, when I'm like, but. What? Right, as I said, don't worry with the last part to solve it, right? I'll show you that after. So completely squared and they want the maximum, the x value, the x-intercepts, and then sketch. Right? So we're going to complete this square first. Right? So of course we recognize a is less than 0 and is a max, right? They didn't access that in the first part, but we know how to hear that, right? It's a maximum, right? Then we find in each is b on 2a. So that's minus 7 on 2 by minus 2. So I got 7 on 4. You'll get that? K now, K is c minus e squared. So that's minus 6. A is minus 2. And h is 7 on 4 squared. So that's minus 6 plus 2 by 49 on 16. Plus minus 6 plus 49 on 8. Right? So that's what 1/8. When you work it out, you got 1/8. 1/8. Yeah, sure. So you'll get 1/8, right? Nice. So the first part they ask for the complete square. So when you complete the square, you would have gotten minus 2 by x plus 7 on 4 squared. That's part 1 of think, right? Part 2 they ask for the x value, right? No, part 2 they ask for the max value.
Yeah, max.
The max value is always k. So the max value is 1/8.
Right.
And then they want the x value, which is minus h. So that would have been minus 7 on 4. Right? Part 4, I think they asked for f of x equal to 0. Right. What you see, I want to show you something as well. But watch here now. To solve that, you can use a calculator. But I think the question asks to use the answer in part 1. So I want to show you now how we could use this completely square version to find the x values. So basically you're making x is subject to the formula. What would you move first? The plus 1/8, right? So I would move the plus 1/8 across first. It becomes minus 1/8. Then I have to divide everything by minus 2. So I'll get x plus 7 on 4 squared. Minus and a minus a plus. Swing up the 2. I get 16. So 1/8 divided by 2 is 1/16. Then what you gonna do now? Square root both sides. Square root here, square root here. So you'll end up with x plus 7 on 4. When you square root this, I want you to remember something, right? I think I showed you there. when you square root 1 and 16, yes, you will get 1/4, but you will get positive and minus. You okay with that? Last step. Last step now is to take positive 1/4 and minus 7 and 4. Also, take minus 1/4 and minus 7 and 4. So I got minus 6 and 4, and I got minus 8 and 4. So that's minus 2 and minus 2.5. You all got that? Sorry, 1.5 again. You all got that? If you do it, this is if you do it using the completing square, right? So I'm just showing you how to make x the subject of the formula. Or you can plug it in the calculator and you'll get those values. Right? Last thing, they didn't ask for it as yet, but we need it. Y-intercept is 0 minus 6. How do we sketch this one? This one here, the turning point is minus 7 and 4, 1, 8. Right? So we could do a quick little sketch. Our x-intercepts are where? Our x-intercept is minus 2 and minus 1.5. That's our x-intercepts. Our turning point is right, turning point go. Minus 7 and 4, that's somewhere in the middle here. Positive 1, 8, so that's 1, 8 there. And the y-intercept is somewhere down here. That is minus 6. So your shape will look something like this. All right, now I'll cheat a little bit. Minus. Okay. Here is minus 2, minus 1.5, and your turning point is minus 7 and 4. I just a little too far, but that could pass. Sure. You okay with this? The only thing that new is this, right? The only thing that new is this, right? The question could ask you to use the completing the square to work it out. Okay, if they ask you, all they want is to make x the subject. And you should get the same two answers as if it's out in the calculator. Okay, the only mistake we tend to make is that when we square it, we forget to do plus and minus. All right. All right, so that is your intro into quadratics. Just what we're gonna do next week is the inequalities. I'm gonna show you something, right? If this is a quadratic, right? All right. If this is a quadratic, which part of it is less than 0? Which part of the quadratic is less than 0? This side? No, this is x is less than 0. This is x is more than 0. This is y is more than 0. This is y is less than 0. So which part of your graph is less than 0? Underneath here. Underneath here. And which part is more than 0? Above here. So based on your solution, right? Based on your solution, this is what we're focusing on next week, right? If I said, when is f of x more than 0? F of x is more than 0 here. Between these values at, saying that? So between here and here is more than 0. So what you would write is between minus 2 and minus 1.5. That's it. Right? That's all you need to learn. So if they say more than 0, they want here. If they say less than 0, out. Right? That's what we're looking at next week, right? I just want to finish up this part of it next week. Right? And we're also doing, I'm not sure who might set up test, but we're doing a small online test next week on everything that we did.